Coming to startups, a lot of startups that I'm seeing in specialty chemicals space are happening more in the regulatory intelligence, more in the B2B online platform. Like there's this company called Camark. So Camark is a dedicated specialty chemicals platform where a lot of specialty chemical companies like BASF, Croda, Indian companies like Make Money, Deccan Fine Chem, they are already registered and they can connect with their B2B partners for documentation part and all that.
So welcome to the Blue Circle. It's such a big privilege and pleasure to connect with everyone and our distinguished keynote speaker who is handpicked because of the Think input and the rich experience he brings in. Thank you also to our distinguished audience for joining us, most of whom are CEOs and CXOs and senior leaders. Many of them are our members and are repeat visitors to our webinars. This is very encouraging and motivates us to provide even higher levels of dialogue through the online mode as well. For those of you who are new with us today, Blue Circle is the world's first sector-specific networking app for business leaders that's built in India. We currently focus on 20 sector communities such as chemicals, e-mobility, energy, real estate, and many more. We also present socioeconomic insights which ultimately determine the evolving complexion of the market. Along with our weekly webinar series and our digital publication, you will be happy to know that we have recently launched the first version of the Blue Circle app for leaders, somewhat like the sector-specific LinkedIn for leaders, a space to have meaningful conversations, connect with over 10,000 plus like-minded leaders from India and across the globe, house high-quality curated content, and access business opportunities across these sectors. Those leaders among you who are interested, please to join us. I will share the link to the app in the chat section, and we'll soon be sending out invitations to our new guests post today's discussion. Now, without further ado, I'm pleased to introduce today's keynote speaker, Mr. Ajay Joshi, Senior Industry Advisor Chemicals, former BASF and Honeywell. He has over 7 years of core specialty chemicals domain experience with expertise in implementing strategic business initiatives on enterprise level across the value chain. And he has also been working with the global consulting and manufacturing companies for chemicals strategy project across the globe. And for today's topic, Mr. Ajay Joshi will be discussing India racing ahead China in specialty chemicals. Now I request Mr. Ajay Joshi to please begin the session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gautam, and good afternoon, everyone. Hope I'm audible to everyone. So I think it's a very nice initiative on the Blue Circle app. When I do speakerships, even outside of India, we have such forums where people from similar industry background or people with domain expertise, they connect and share views, insights, and everything. So congratulations, Gautam, on such a good initiative, and thank you all for attending it. Surely we'll be in touch going forward to share business insights and probably work together in some way or another. After all, it's such a small industry. Everyone knows everyone. So without further ado now, I would like to bring focus to today's topic, which will be revolving around specialty chemicals industry, specifically whatever is happening with China right now with the new Chinese energy policy, pollution control norms, COVID-19 disruptions, supply chain issues. So what is happening from China in the spec chem industry and how India can leverage this situation to establish itself as a strategic, sustainable long-term partner to customers across the globe. Snatching away share from Chinese suppliers in the export market in high growth regions like North America, Latin America, rest of the Asia. And I would also give example with deep dive into agrochemicals industry, as agrochemical is one of the key end segment for specialty chemicals industry in India, how it is already happening in the agrochemicals industry. Let me just share my screen. Anyone have any questions, anything in between, or you would like to add on to the point I'm making, please, you can jump in and cut me in between. Okay, hope my screen is visible to everyone, right? Okay, so this will be the broad agenda for today with Indian spec chem market. Then I will introduce the Chinese new dual control energy policy, impact of new Chinese energy policy on different markets, India, CIS, North America, Europe, everywhere. And then how Indian companies, Indian spec chem industry can leverage this to race ahead of China. So without further ado, let me start off with the Indian specialty chemicals industry. In terms of market size, it's a 37 billion USD industry. Globally, it accounts for around 4% of global spec chem industry, which is around 850 billion US dollars, poised to grow at a CAGR of 12% in next 5 years, driven by Make in India, increased demand for export, and robust downstream local demand in Indian market. Of the Indian chemical industry, specialty chemicals industry contributes around 21%, 2021 calendar year. Some of the key highlights that were dominating in 2021 was the Make in India initiative. As we all know that COVID-19, there were supply issues from our export partners, from our export suppliers. So a lot of Indian companies were very fast to adapt to in backward integration in the value chain to have better supply visibility. Even forward integration was being done by a lot of chemical companies in India to tap market. A lot of isopropyl alcohol makers, for example, got forward integrated into making sanitizers, disinfectants, and other cleaning chemical to leverage the market that was created due to COVID-19 pandemic. Similarly, in the food value chain, a lot of Indian specialty chemicals companies got forward integrated. Backward integration was also happening in the agrochemicals industry, where a lot of agrochemical technicals were being imported from China, but there was this supply disruption. So a lot of Indian companies like Make Money Organics, Vinati Organics, the companies which were rocking the share market also got backward integrated to tap into those markets. Then export market again significantly grew for Indian specialty chemical companies even in the pandemic year. The top 10 specialty chemicals companies saw a significant increase in their revenue as well as their bottom line even during the pandemic year. This particular opportunity, Indian companies were very fast to hop onto because a lot of customers shifted their supply source from China to other countries. So Indian companies became their strategic partner in those times. So export also grew significantly. And then the third point is the domestic market demand. As we all know that India has the highest young millennial population. So the demand due to the changing lifestyle, even in the consumption pattern, one simple example is that we are more eating out the packaged food. So if we eat more packaged food, this will directly affect the demand for a lot of food preservatives like sorbic acid, potassium sorbate, calcium propionate, those specialty chemicals. So everything is growing in India right now. Similarly, if we do more online shopping, there will be increased demand for recycled paper, which will drive the demand for paper chemicals. Same goes for our fast fashion habits. The increased demand for textile dyes and textile chemicals. So everything is growing in the domestic market also. So these three were the key highlights of 2021 last year. Which were the major trends? So trends, I have segregated them into two parts. First for H1 calendar year last year, and then S2 calendar year last year. H1, we saw that the raw materials that we were import dependent, specifically from China, we saw an increase in the raw material prices. Because of that, a lot of production costs went up, as well as the prices were passed on to the customers. Coupled with that, there was a lot of vessel shortage. Customers, suppliers, both they were not getting containers, they were not getting vessel space. So the freight cost, if you import from Europe or if you import from China, both the lead time as well as the freight cost increased significantly. But as to 21, although the supply chain situation eased out a bit, the vessel shortage truncated, people were getting vessels, containers, and everything, but still the China disruption has continued till today. Because China 2018 onwards, there was this stringent pollution control norms. So a lot of small to mid-sized companies were operating in reduced capacity. But 2021 H2, Chinese government also introduced the new energy policy, where there were strong curbs on coal consumption, right from coal mining to coal-based chemistries, coal to acetylene and downstream chemicals, to coal uses in their chemical power plant. So everything suffered. We will deep dive into that policy more in upcoming slides. So this trend is still continuing from S221 to H1 2022 also, where we are seeing that whatever raw materials we import from China, the prices have gone up. One example is glyphosate in agrochemicals industry. Glyphosate, popularly known as Roundup, it's a very popular pesticide in India. The price of glyphosate before this China disruption in 2020 September was around $3.5 per kg. But S221 September 21, the prices of glyphosate reached $11.5 per kg. So you can see the impact of this Chinese the change in Chinese energy policy to the specialty chemicals prices. Everything is going up and up and up. In terms of the key end segment, in 2021 for Indian specialty chemicals industry, agrochemicals dominated with around 29% of the demand share. Then we had dyes and pigment, followed by surfactant, textile, construction chemicals, personal care space, battery recycling, which is a new emerging area in India. Companies like Tata Chemicals, companies like Epsilon Carbon, they are investing big into that because the government is also giving subsidies. So battery recycling is going to be a growing segment in spec chem going forward. But for next 5 to 7 years, agrochemicals and dyes and pigment, these two segments will continue to dominate. Now, what are the imperatives for Indian specialty chemicals industry going forward in next 5 years? If I'm a spec chem player, or what are all the things that I need to keep in mind while formulating my business strategies? The paramount one being China plus one strategy. Now, China plus one strategy is valid for both customers of Chinese companies as well as suppliers to China market. If I'm a customer of a Chinese supplier, I need to have an alternate supplier that is based out of China, because today I cannot rely upon China for supply visibility. I don't know whether I will get the material on time, whether I will get the material at fair time. There's a lot of volatility in supplies from China. So whether it's a customer in India or a customer abroad in North America or Europe or Latin America or ASEAN region, Vietnam, Indonesia, they are now going for an alternate supplier that is based out of China to salvage the supply volatility situation. Another key imperative, which we are seeing right now in India with the number of IPOs that have come out last year, also this year, also many IPOs coming in specialty chemical industry. Companies are getting capital. Companies are needing cash for value chain integration to diversify their value chain. They want to get either forward integrated or backward integrated to have more sales outlets. So if one product suffers, they can have options to get some additional sales from other product value chain. Another imperative which we are seeing in India, which was last 5 years, which was almost negligible among specialty chemical companies, is the R&D spent, research and development. We were not an R&D driven companies. We were simply, making generic products, making generic specialty chemicals which are needed in bulk. But now we are focusing on niche molecules where a highly consolidated market is there. We are focusing on high value, low volume products also to make good margins. I think we have a couple of questions there. Akshay is saying the China plus one strategy is bringing India to the center stage for manufacturing specialty chemicals. India is striking a balance between industrial growth and environmental sustainability due to high toxic emissions. Yes, so sustainability going forward, definitely in India also, it is going to be a big issue. Right now in India, the stringent regulations are not at par with which they are in the West, like in Europe, North America, or even in China. So in the short run, Indian spec chem companies are not that focusing on sustainability part of it, but yes, going forward, once government brings forth certain regulations, definitely a lot of bio-based chemistries we would see going forward. Okay, Rakesh is saying there have been reports that United States will slap investment and export sanctions against more Chinese companies, and this is expected to help India's spec chem industry. Yes, Rakesh, yes, this has already been happening. In fact, couple of provinces in China, specifically Xinjiang and Shandong, two of the provinces in China. So US has already slapped high tariffs. So whatever chemicals are being imported, that are being manufactured in those provinces in China, the importers in the US, they already have to pay very high tariffs of around 25 to 35% range. So this is already happening, and going forward, the intensity will definitely increase. Praveshika is asking, chemicals is a capital intensive industry market. How do you see participation driven by MSMEs and startup in this space? So MSMEs, to be very honest, in specialty chemicals, it's a capital intensive market, like you rightly pointed out. So that's why, like I said, many companies are going for IPOs, many companies are going for merger and acquisition to get some cash so that they can invest. Coming to startups, a lot of startups that I'm seeing in specialty chemicals space are happening more in the regulatory intelligence, more in the B2B online platform. Like there's this company called Chemark. So Chemark is a dedicated specialty chemicals platform, where a lot of specialty chemical companies like BASF, Croda, Indian companies like Make Money, Deccan Fine Chem, they are already registered and they can connect with their B2B partners for documentation part and all that. Okay, so since India, Arun Kumar is asking, India is already committed to COP26 goals. Won't our energy policy also affect the specialty chemicals and allied sectors? Yes, it would, but fortunately in India, most of our chemistries in specialty chemicals space already start from natural gas. We have very less chemistries that start from coal. Coal, right now we are using only in the power plant space, running our chemical manufacturing unit. But the chemistries are emanating from either natural gas or C2, C3, C4 cuts that we import from outside, the refinery cuts. Okay, Akshay is asking, China currently holds around 35% of global market share versus 4% in India. When do you envision India actually moving ahead on China in this industry? Okay, so yes, in the next 5 years, 2026, we expect that India's share would be around 12 to 13% in the specialty chemicals space. China's share, we expect that it would shrink in next 5 years. China would come down to around 28 to 30% going forward. Sure, I hope I have answered these questions. So anything is there, then we can further discuss. So I will move on to the next slide now very quickly. Yeah, so talk about China's new dual control energy policy. Now, what is this policy? To simplify in a layman's language, China's dual control energy policy is nothing but reduce overall coal use, right from coal mining to coal-based chemistries, to coal being used in its power plant, to coal being used as a heat supply source to household for central heating in their houses. All across the applications, China is focusing to reduce coal consumption and move towards cleaner sources, move towards natural gas, move towards solar energy, move towards hydrogen energy per se. So that is the new Chinese dual control energy policy. With this policy in effect, a lot of specialty chemicals and chemicals companies in China have been slapped with very high tariffs if they are not meeting their annual CO2 emission goal. The Chinese government is conducting regular audits. They are being really aggressive. A lot of companies in some of the provinces, Jiangsu, Xinjiang, Shandong, Anhui, which accounts for 70% of China's specialty chemicals production. Companies there are operating at 40 to 50% capacity to meet the CO2 emission target set by the Chinese government, else they would face a very high amount as a fine. So this has been the effect, and it will take China at least 5 to 7 years to switch from coal to natural gas to cleaner sources of their energy. So this phenomena we expect to have very long-term effect in the specialty chemicals value chain. Right now, coal accounts for 57% of China's energy matrix. By 2030, China has set the target to have coal accounting for 35% of its energy matrix, which is a very, very significant target and not easy to achieve. I think we already have one question. India's population control performance is not commendable. How is it doing for specialty chemicals industry? In fact, the pollution control performance definitely is not at all commendable in India right now, but I'm being very honest, it is benefiting India's specialty chemicals industry. Specifically, if you go to the Gujarat belt, which is the major hub of spec chem, the affluent treatment practices are not at par, but this is another reason that these companies have been cost competitive compared to their Chinese counterparts. But going forward, yes, government is taking cognizance of pollution control norms, so there will be, some effective policy control measures going forward. Yeah, coming back to my slide. So overall, this China's dual control energy policy, it's like a black swan event for the global specialty chemicals market. We are seeing a lot of volatility. Customers are slowly moving away, and they are looking up to India. So this is a great opportunity for India to step up and be an alternate. And this dual control energy policies after effects will continue, because in 2022, right now we are having the Olympics. So due to Olympics also, the Chinese government, they want a clearer sky, clearer blue sky. They already have cut down coal supplies to a lot of chemical companies. They have stopped a lot of mining activities for coal. Then March next month, the Congress is meeting, the China's Congress Party is meeting again to formulate their next 10-year energy policy. We all need to look at what they come out now and how they will tackle this coal issue. September, again, we have Asian Games, which will again see reduced overall coal use across the value chain. Then October, again, the Communist Congress Party is meeting again to implement the strategy that they are going to make in March 2022. Yeah, let me take more questions. Yeah, Atul, these slides will be shared with you. I'll share these slides with Gautam. So they can share. Coal-backed methane generation effort by Coal India to supply fertilizers units will fall under green energy. So CBM, again, it requires a lot of water. If coal-backed methane generation we would look at. So I would not say it's the most sustainable solution going forward. But fertilizer, another interesting development that is happening right now in India is bioammonia. I think an Indian company is also setting up a plant in this area. So fertilizer segment will move more towards bio-based ammonia generation rather than CBM and all those things. Yeah. So moving to the next slide now, impact of new Chinese energy policy. So here I have just tried to summarize on different global markets, what will be the impact, positive, negative, or neutral. One clear sign that is coming out is that India is not going to suffer much, because Indian specialty chemical industry, we have been faster to adapt to these changing dynamics. We have companies that already have gotten backward integrated companies, Balaji Amines, Deepak Nitrite, Deepak Fertilizers, Aarti Industries, companies that gave us very good returns in the share market also last year. Nowadays, the market is also not doing good, but so India has been very fast to adapt to these challenges. If you see other markets like Europe, Latin America, West Africa, North America, rest of the Asia, Vietnam, Indonesia, Malaysia, they are more or less getting negatively impacted. So the impact areas, if you look at, the paramount one is the supply shortage. Lead time volatility. How will you have your production plan if you do not have clear visibility of supplies? One example, I'm a pharma company. I need a lot of reagents. I need a lot of catalyst. I need a lot of solvent, but I need them in time so that my production is in time, and I can, if I'm focusing on export market, like Cipla or Solara Pharma Active. So I need to produce in time. For that, I need my material in time. But with dependency on China right now, this is not happening. So we need more and more Indian specialty chemicals companies to come up and make these products. Products like tetrahydrofuran, which is the key solvent in pharma industry. Products like N-methylpyrrolidone. Again, a key starting material for a lot of oncology-based pharma APIs, tenofovir and all those products. We need these products to be made in India. We cannot rely on import going forward. Second point, we will see a lot of consolidation that will take place in China. Bigger companies will acquire small to mid-sized companies. Along with this acquisition, there will be a lot of shutdown of idle capacities. As we know that China has huge capacities for any of the chemical or specialty chemical given, and some of those capacities are sitting idle. So those capacity we will see getting out of the market. This will give opportunity to Indian companies to enter the market. A lot of Indian companies also have the licenses to produce certain specialty chemicals. With shutting down of excess capacities in China, Indian companies can easily come out and have a fair play in the market. I think we have some questions. How will first phase of green hydrogen fuel policy affect chemical industry? Again, very elaborate topic. For that, I need to have another session. I just presented on this in UAE last month in Dubai in the SpecChem conference on green hydrogen. So I can maybe share some of my views later on. While China, and then Sandeep ji is asking, while China is moving away from methanol from coal, India is venturing into it. Please share your views. Yes, coal to methanol in India getting popular right now, a lot of methanol based chemistry. But again, methanol is one product that most of the Indian companies import at a very cheaper price from Middle East. It is readily available in Middle East because of their excess refining capacity. The lead time is very low. In 10-15 days, the material reaches to India by sea. So even though some of the Indian companies might move methanol from coal, but methanol as a product, I see that most of Indian companies would import only from Middle East. That is the cheapest and best solution. Why to put out an investment into producing methanol from coal in India when you can get it at a cheaper price from Middle Eastern market? Then again, going forward, we see that, so overall, to sum up this slide, I think we are getting short of time also. Overall, the impact will be that there will be reduced cost competitiveness of Chinese players. What we all have been seeing in the past, that Chinese companies are the cheapest for any of the specialty chemicals. They will no longer be the cheapest. So Indian companies could be, could easily compete and snatch away the share from these Chinese companies. Now, I would move on very quickly to how India is racing ahead of China. What are the opportunities lying forward in front of Indian companies? And what are the focus areas Indian SpecChem players should focus upon going forward? I think we have one more question. Methanol is not cheap. Yes, right now it is not, but it was in the past. And I think the methanol prices will correct going forward. Do we have, okay, no. Okay, so opportunities for Indian specialty chemicals industry, value chain integration to substitute import. I would give one example here of MPBD, metaphenoxybenzaldehyde. Now, a couple of Indian companies, they make MPBD, metaphenoxybenzaldehyde, which eventually goes into your a lot of pesticides like lambda and bifenthrin. Now we make MPBD in India, then we sell. Then we supply MPBD from India to China. China, they add value to it. They make a derivative of MPBD, and then we buy that derivative from China to India to be used in the end product. So these are the steps we are following right now. But why we are skipping this step? Why we are giving the opportunity to China for value addition? We could do this in-house only. So this is where we need to, bridge the gap. We need to be present all across the value chain. The times are gone when we would be playing in one or two products only and focus on import. If we want to be cost competitive, if we want to have profitable growth going forward, if we want to have global presence, we need to be present all across the value chain. Then capacity expansions to grow export. I think ever since COVID struck us, a lot of Indian companies had plans to expand their capacities, add new capacities. That all got put in the backseat after COVID-19 hit us. But now is the time that the companies could start investing into capacity expansions, so that because the market demand has already coming up from the export market, Latin America, Vietnam, ASEAN, North America, the demand has already revived in some of the end segments. So now is the time. If you have those material produced, you can easily sell to those export markets. The third point is focus on global technological partnership. Now this is very much applicable in the agrochemicals domain, where we use this term called CRAMS, contract manufacturing. A lot of global AgChem companies like BASF, Corteva, Syngenta, FMC, they are outsourcing production of generic molecule to Asian companies, because the production cost will be less, plus the end market for those products is also in Asia Pacific only. So this is one key opportunity where Indian companies like Deccan, Make Money, Rallis, Surgeon India, they already are SRF. These companies are already participating, but going forward, this will be a more lucrative opportunity for India, because now Western players, BASF, Corteva, FMC, they do not trust Chinese companies with CRAMS. Because of whatever is happening, they are not trusting Chinese companies to be their sustainable partner. So they are looking at more and more into Indian companies. So this space is going to grow like anything, and more Indian companies we will see that participating into this global partnership. Then the fourth point is building on key chemistries. There are certain chemistries like phosgenation, which 2 or 3 Indian companies only operate right now. But we need to build on those key chemistries going forward. We need to have local production capacities, enough production capacities to cater to downstream demand. If we have good phosgenation capacity, we can invest into then the polyurethane system houses also in-house at current, which predominantly we import only. Apart from Manali, no other player makes it in India. We import either from BASF or Covestro. Both are located in Germany. So polyurethane foam, which is used popularly in your automotive seats, as well as your mattresses, your shoes, memory foam, and all that. So phosgenation chemistry has a wide range of application, with PU foam being one. Then phosgenation chemistry also goes into your thionyl chloride and other derivatives which are being used in pharma segment. So we need to build on these key chemistries. We can't depend on foreign suppliers to buy bits and pieces. One product we are buying from this supplier, another product we are buying from this supplier. Then we are coming to a conclusion that we are not being cost competitive because we are importing. Invest locally, produce these products locally, and that will give you an opportunity to diversify across the value chain to grow your margins going forward. On the right hand side, again, we have some of the key focus areas. Focus on export, increase R&D spend, value chain integration, global partnership, and become a reliable supply partner to companies across the globe. Now, example I would like to give in the AgChem industry. AgChem right now, we Indian companies are predominantly into formulations. We sell a lot of branded formulated product. Now companies have started investing into agrotechnicals also, but still there's a gap between agrotechnicals and the raw materials for those technicals. To produce those technicals in India, we still import 90% of the raw materials from China, and that is why most of the Indian companies are not being able to produce those technicals at a positive margin rate. So to make technicals in-house, we need to go further down the value chain and produce a lot of intermediates also in-house. Or you can have strategic acquisitions, like Godrej Agrovert acquired this company called Aztec. Aztec makes a lot of technicals as well as N-1, N-2 intermediates. So Godrej Agrovert made a very strategic moves. So more such acquisitions can also be a strategy by formulation companies to acquire intermediate manufacturers in India. And then the downside of the slide, I have identified some of the focus molecules for Indian agrochemical companies. Now, these focus molecules have been identified because they are less susceptible to regulatory ban. As we know that in agrochemical, most of the popular molecules are getting banned either in the European market or in the Indian market, like mancozeb, propiconazole, these products are getting banned because of being carcinogenic in nature. So these focus molecules are more on the cleaner side. They are less susceptible to ban by any of the market, any of the key geographies, whether it be EU, European Union, or North America or India. So these are the focus molecule specialty chemical companies or Indian agrochemical companies can focus upon going forward. So with this, I would stop today, and I hope this was a value addition to you, and I will be sharing this presentation with Gautam. Gautam can share it with all of you. I'm sorry I overshoot the time. Over to you, Gautam. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think it was a fabulous session, and it was very insightful and engaging, and a privilege to hear you. I'm sure our guests and I have been hooked on till the very end, and I've taken home several nuggets. And thank you to our leaders in the audience for joining us and for staying till the end, and for always asking excellent questions. Thank you so much.
It was an honor, and we'll be in touch, definitely.